I'm Natasha Hussein, and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. We're at the tail end of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. For many of the world's 2 billion Muslims, it's been a month of dusk to dawn fasting, prayer, and acts of charity. But Ramadan for Gazans this year has been against the backdrop of a looming famine. Almost the entire population is now dependent on food aid. Israel may have approved the opening of another key humanitarian route in Erez to the north of Gaza, but critics have slammed Israel's delay in easing its aid restrictions, as dozens of Palestinians have already starved to death and many more are suffering from malnutrition. Tel Aviv announced the measures to increase the flow of aid into Gaza after the U.S. threatened it'd no longer back Israel unless it took steps to ease civilian suffering and harm to aid workers. Former Human Rights Watch head Kenneth Roth pointed out that Joe Biden could have used his leverage with Israel earlier, but didn't, emphasizing just how quick Benjamin Netanyahu decided to reopen a major crossing into northern Gaza following U.S. pressure. Biden's warning to Netanyahu marked a significant shift in U.S. policy, the first time Washington has leveraged its support for Tel Aviv to influence Israel's conduct in its war on Gaza. The U.S.'s threat came after assistance into Gaza began drying up, as many aid agencies suspended operations following the Israeli airstrikes that killed a convoy of aid workers from the charity World Central Kitchen.
Food should never be a weapon. And the airstrikes on our convoy, I don't think were an unfortunate mistake. It was really a direct attack on a clearly marked vehicles whose movements were known by everybody at the IDF. I've been in Gaza myself. I met, and some of the people that died were my friends. And I served with them. Somi is the nicest angel you will ever meet. Is a woman that has been in so many places around the world, feeding people. This was a good soul.
Jose Andres was referring to World Central Kitchen aid worker Zomi Francom, seen here preparing meals in Gaza. She was one of the 7 killed this week while delivering food to Palestinians. Since Israel targeted the convoy, many aid groups have been reassessing their work in Gaza at a time when more than 1 million people are starving. Israel continues to restrict aid deliveries into the enclave.
Now I'm here in the north where food is terribly scarce, famine is imminent. There is a crossing point, an old crossing point, 10 minutes from here.
10 minutes. Open that and we turn this crisis around in no time. But it remains blocked.
There's also been no let-up to Israel's intense bombardment, which has decimated entire neighborhoods across Gaza. Almost 2 million people are displaced in their own homeland. Meanwhile, Palestinians in the occupied West Bank have also faced strict restrictions. On many occasions during Ramadan, Israeli forces blocked Palestinians intending to pray at the Al-Aqsa Mosque from entering occupied East Jerusalem. The mosque is the 3rd holiest site in Islam and is inaccessible to the vast majority of Palestinians and foreigners. Our correspondent Mohammed reports on the restrictions Israel has added on Palestinians in occupied East Jerusalem this Ramadan.
With the brutal war still ongoing in Gaza and the devastation that is taking place there, it's hardly noticeable that this is Ramadan. Ramadan in the occupied East Jerusalem is when you find the lights, the traditions, when you find the lanterns, when you find people singing and having a good time before and after a break fasting. But because of the extra deployment of Israeli security forces and because of the restrictions imposed by Israeli forces on the residents and visitors of the occupied city, the situation and this Ramadan isn't like previous Ramadans.
Apart from the fact that it's the holy month of Ramadan, and in that there is a closeness to God and prayers for our oppressed people who are besieged in Gaza, there is no joy.
Let me just show you here. This is just happening. The number of security forces, how they are treating Palestinian worshippers, Palestinian people who are trying to come to the holy city. do some shopping, go to the Al-Aqsa compound, perform their religious duties. These restrictions have made it almost impossible to have a normal traditional Ramadan like previous years.
And finally, we are inside Al-Aqsa compound. The countdown to the end of the holy month of Ramadan has begun. We are now in the last days of Ramadan, and more worshippers will converge on the holy city to spend time at Al-Aqsa compound, praying and reconnecting spiritually.
أكيد طبعاً أنا أصلاً كتير مستمتعة بوجود.
I really enjoy having people here. You cannot imagine before Ramadan what the atmosphere was like in the old city in Al-Aqsa Mosque. No one from outside the old city was here. Now you come and the place is full and there is a beautiful spirit.
Thank God. We ask God to bring goodness, blessings, and security to the people of Palestine. But this year's Ramadan is different from previous Ramadans. We ask God to protect Palestine and relieve the anguish of our people in Gaza.
Despite all the restrictions imposed by the Israeli security forces, still thousands of worshippers made their way inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the country with the largest Muslim population is also observing Ramadan. Indonesians have been flocking in droves to Ramadan bazaars, which offer a wide range of delicacies for breaking fast. These bustling food markets attract Muslims and non-Muslims alike, becoming a symbol of unity for all Indonesians. Wibisono reports from Jakarta.
Welcome to the Indonesian Iftar War. Yes, you're looking at every kind of Indonesian foods and snacks that you can find from Kalimantan, Java, Sumatra, Eastern Indonesia, every kind of food. It is the middle of Ramadan, and at the end of each day, this is the highlight, hunting for food to break fast for those who are fasting. Where I'm standing at right now is at Bendungan Hilir, one of the busiest pop-up street food markets that sells many kinds of iftar. Let's see what they have here. So these are of course the favorites. We have the fritters, we have a lot of snacks. This is from Java. Sweet drinks, of course, definitely, there's a must. Mantap. And main courses here, any kind of food that you can find. Food consumption is at an all-time high. Economists said that there is an increase of 40% of food consumption during Ramadan. So big is the rave that people are taking to social media to talk about how many non-Muslims are actually beating the Muslims to get the best kinds of iftar. Yes, this is the joke that's going on right now. But jokes aside, many are highlighting the fact that Ramadan is not only for Muslims, but for all Indonesians of all backgrounds to enjoy and live throughout this holy month. Now, looks like it's not a problem, that there is still many left. So it is about my turn to find food for myself.
Ramadan is clearly a special time for the 2 billion Muslims observing worldwide. But for believers, the holy month can mean different things, as these TikTokers explain.
It's a time to be grateful for what we have and, appreciate what we have and have our thoughts and prayers with our brothers and sisters in Palestine.
It's relate to myself, to renew the relationship between me and myself, also between me and my God.
Ramadan for me, it means discipline. Not just you stay away from, you don't eat, you don't drink. It's all about spirituality. At the same time, it's all about mental strength.
Ramadan is a month of personal and spiritual growth. It's like a hard reset and a full mind and body cleanse.
Ramadan is a month of spiritual awakening, I guess.
Ramadan means for you in one word. طاجن بسلة ومع العيلة الكريمة والأسرة الكريمة وصوبيا وتمر وهابي نيو يير.
محشي ورق عنب. Ramadan is being a vibe to me. Family. Food.
What does Ramadan mean for you in one word?
Lamma.
What does Ramadan mean for you in one word?
Family time.
What does Ramadan mean for you in one word?
Shifting gears now to the U.S., and Donald Trump is embroiled in yet another legal wrangle. He's suing the co-founders of his app, Truth Social. He accuses them of mismanaging the social media platform and wants them stripped of their shares. Never one to mince his words, Trump accuses Wes Moss and Andy Latinsky for making reckless and wasteful decisions and alleges that they failed spectacularly to get the site up and running. These are actually the guys who came up with the idea of Truth Social after the former president was banned from Twitter, which is now known as X. The pair had filed their own lawsuit a month ago, accusing Trump Media and Technology Group of depriving them of their shares worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Truth Social share prices soared when the company went public in March, but have since tumbled, leaving the former president's net worth a lot lower. Now let's move on to a more serene corner of the internet. Instagram, where, believe it or not, the notoriously private Japanese royal family has joined the gram. The ancient monarchy is 15 years late to the party compared to the Windsors, but still, the Japanese imperial family is hoping to connect with the younger generation and stay relevant. For those expecting an inside look into the royal family's daily life, though, the account may not be what you hoped for. So far, it's been quite formal and dull, mainly showcasing their official duties with straightforward captions. I wouldn't hold my breath for royal selfies or emoji-filled posts, and they've also disabled comments, probably because of the recent hoo-ha over photoshopped images of Kate, the Princess of Wales, and her kids. Well, we don't know about the imperial family, but the rest of Japan might share the same surname in 500 years. Can you guess which one? Among Japan's vast array of surnames, Sato reigns supreme as the most common, with Suzuki and Takahashi following closely behind. Japan's declining marriage rate might seem like a lifeline for other surnames, but the country's overall population decline could render this point moot. Unlike many other countries where couples can choose whether or not to share a surname, Japan still legally requires married couples to adopt the same surname, typically the husband's. However, a movement led by women's rights advocates and those seeking to preserve the diversity of Japanese surnames is pushing for a change in these laws. Now there's a sweet sensation that has taken TikTok by storm, the crookie. It's a croissant filled with cookie dough. To be honest, it sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen, and TikTokers are divided in their opinions. But one thing they all agree on is that it's a must try. We'll leave you with some mouth-watering crookie craze videos. Enjoy.
Okay, first bite is tasting like a crunchy, not a 10, but not like a good vibe so far.
I hate to admit how good this is, but it's really good.
Would I freak out about this? No, me either. Okay.
Also, you should share this with someone. Do not get this for yourself.